Hello dear students, welcome to Devika's Commerce and Management Academy. Auditing class introduction is over and also objects of auditing I taught you. Now today very important topic, that is auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. How do you justify this? This is the important case we have to discuss and I'll give you a detailed explanation about this. Very important. So this is the case happened in the year 1986. In this year. So what is this case? This is a famous case. The case is Kingston Cotton Mills Company. Kingston Cotton Mills Company 1986. In this case, the judge Lopsy LJ. So he has given this statement that auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Why this is given means the duties of the auditor has mentioned in this case. Auditor is appointed by the company owner or the client to observe the things. Honestly, he has to do his duties and he has to find out the frauds. He has to prevent the frauds. He has to find out the mistakes. He has to prevent the mistakes. That's it. This is the duty. He is not a bloodhound. He is just like a watchdog. He will be watching everything and he will not be doing any work like a detective. He is not a detective. And simply watching and also giving a signal to the client or the owner of the company who has appointed this auditor. What he is going to give the main important thing is that something is happening, frauds are more, mistakes are more. So you have to be alert in particular department. There you are finding a lot of mistakes. There we are finding lot of manipulations, like he has to give a hint and making alert the client, not anything else. He has to do his work, simply checking out all the transactions, all the accounts, checking out final account, this accounts, ledgers, trial balance, everything, whether it is supporting with the evidence or not, he has to check. Whenever he finds any kind of mistakes, any kind of frauds, making a note and bringing into the knowledge of the owner, bringing into the knowledge of the client. At the end of the day, he will be writing a report, audit report. So there he can mention it, but not having any conflict with anyone, directly attacking the employees like accountants or senior accountants or branch manager or someone, not attacking, not harming anyone, not giving pain to anyone, not to enter into any kind of disputes. This is the duty of the auditor. In short, you can say, when this is asked, auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. It means you can talk about the duties of an auditor. So this is nothing but duties of an auditor. What are the duties of an auditor? In fact, you can say that duties of an auditor or objects of an auditor we have already discussed. Objects of an auditor. Auditor objects means it's his duties only. We have discussed in the last class, right? Main objects, subsidiary objects. Main objects, we know it, subsidiary objects, mainly detection and prevention of frauds, detection and prevention of mistakes. These are the main subsidiary objects. So there, whatever we have discussed, that you can talk in this lecture, like auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Duties of an auditor is nothing but the same one only. Now let us discuss very clearly about an auditor is a watchdog. Two statements are there here. An auditor is a watchdog, this is one statement. Another statement is that an auditor is not a bloodhound. Two statements, an auditor is a watchdog, an auditor is not a bloodhound. So let's talk about the first statement. Auditor is a watchdog. Means what is the duty of an auditor is to just observe, to check the transactions, to check the accounts, and if he finds any kind of errors or frauds, it has to bring it into the knowledge of the client or the owner, right? So that's it, and he should not involve in any kind of activities, other activities. and entering into the politics, and sometimes giving support to someone, and sometimes behind some other people. Like this kind of activities he is not supposed to. He must be always neutral, and also he must be honest to his duties, and he must work out sincerely to detect the frauds or errors. This is the duty. Like he is a watchdog observing. If you see a dog in front of your gate, if you kept a dog, if someone comes, it barks and it gives a signal to the owner that someone has come, right? So in the same way he has to give the signal. We are not literally saying that he is a dog. The duties, whatever duties dog does, making alert the owner and taking care of the house, taking care of everyone in the family, and behaving like a family of the people, behaving like a well-wisher of the family. Like his duty, his behavior must be like a watchdog at home. Okay. And an auditor is, second statement is that an auditor is not a bloodhound. Means he need not to be behave like a bloodhound. Bloodhound means, you know, okay, like a detective and behind everyone and chasing it, like James Bond 007. Not required. This much of challenging heroism, it is not required. It is not the duty of the auditor. Auditor is not a bloodhound. So he is just like a watchdog, and he has to observe and he has to mention everything. So when this is asked in the exam, how to write is, first thing is that you keep a heading, discuss about this case. In this case it has mentioned by the judge, what is his name, Judge Lofsy LJ. He has mentioned, he has given a statement that auditor is not a watchdog. Auditor is a watchdog but not a bloodhound. And how it is possible? Take paragraph 1, 2. In paragraph 1, first paragraph, you write about supporting the statement that auditor is a watchdog. In the second paragraph, you can talk about auditor is not a bloodhound. Means it is not his duty to be behind in depth of any information, just he has to mention it. He should not enter into any kind of quarrels, any kind of politics, any kind of disputes. So all these things, it is not his duty. That you can mention it in the second paragraph. Then after that you can talk about the objects or duties of an auditor. What is his duty? First thing is that number 1, number 2. First one is that detection of errors and frauds. Detection of errors and frauds. Let's focus on the detection only. Detection part of the errors and frauds. Error means, you know that it is by mistake, some mistake happened. Any mistake happened by mistake. So that is error. Fraud, intentionally, deliberately has done something. So that is fraud. Okay, intentionally. Now detecting such kind of errors and frauds. What happened? Right from the beginning, basics of accounting, journal entries, ledgers, trial balance, everywhere he is checking out anything is missing. Like we have seen types of errors, types of frauds also. Did you remember types of frauds? So manipulation of cash, manipulation of goods, and manipulation of accounts. And in the same way, types of errors, 5 types of errors are there. He must be having full confidence about such kind of frauds and errors which can take place and in which transaction. So that knowledge he must have. Then after that, detection is over. Then after detection, prevention is also important. Detection is over. Then after that, prevention. One time we came to know that this kind of errors are repeating, this kind of frauds are repeating. Then prevention. How to prevent it? Simply keep on observing, keep on noting out. It is not going to work out. You have to prevent also. What are the preventions? What action he can take it, and what kind of suggestions he wanted to give it to the management. That is prevention of errors and frauds. So these are the main duties of the auditor. So here you can discuss about objects of auditing. Already we have discussed objects of auditing, like frauds and errors. So the same points you can mention in short according to the question, how many marks question they are asking it. According to that same one, you can elaborate it. And after that, end of this lecture, you can talk about SCA, means Standard Audit 240. Standard Audit 240. It is saying that the auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in an audit of financial statements. Auditor's responsibility in case any fraud is there, any mistake is there, that's quite common. He has to identify. But what about the fraud? In case of fraud, that is mentioned in the standard audit. SCA, always you will be finding in this auditing subject, SCA means standard audit. Standard audit 240. This is revised. It is saying that the responsibilities of auditor in case of fraud. If you find any kind of fraud, it is the minimum responsibility of the auditor to bring this matter, bring this fraud into the knowledge of the client, knowledge of the owner, and he has to inform that this kind of frauds are happening in which department, and who is doing it, who is responsible to this, and all these things he has to mention it to the client. Or sometimes he may write it in the even report also, but not to take any kind of revenge or not to take any kind of direct conflicts with the accountants and who is responsible for them. He is not supposed to do. Just simply he has to inform, just like a watchdog. That's it. So that's about auditor is a watchdog but not a bloodhound, right? So related to the auditing, we'll see more classes in the coming videos. By the way, did you subscribe to our channel? If you follow any of the talk, if you like that video, if you followed that video, that concept, please give a like. It doesn't cost much, right? And in the same way, please don't forget to share these videos with your near and dear friends, juniors, seniors, whoever it may be. It will be helpful for them. They'll remember you always. Stay connected, study well throughout the year. Before exams, revise it. Follow this principle, you'll be the topper. Trust me. Good luck.